Meet the defenders. If scoring is the sexy thing to do in sport, defenders are there to kill the excitement. Keep matches as low scoring as possible and essentially turn the superficial sport fan into a bundle of bored human beings. But to those fans with a keen sense of sport, defending is an art form that involves perfect timing, an incredible sense of vision, and a little bit of muscle. And when it comes to defending a title, those characteristics remain the same. Defenders may thwart the enemy, but it can never beat back the truth. Many would argue that history of the world and the livelihood of those in it has been built around defense. The defense of nations, defense of borders, on land or on sea. In sport, water has been a battleground for some of the greatest defenses. Take water polo. Originated in Scotland in the 19th century as water rugby, most of the war is waged underneath the water's surface, where athletes assert their aquatic authority by kicking and clawing. Defending in water polo may be seen as a break from swimming, but it's far from a holiday in the pool. Rather, it's all about keeping your hips high to intercept a pass or block a shot, your legs moving in a motion known as the egg beater, and if necessary, it's about fouling the opponent.
In 6 Serbia, with time winding down in...
Water polo is the only contact sport in water and the oldest Olympic team event, having entered the games in 1900. And no nation has successfully defended the gold better than Hungary. Between 1900 and 2012, the men took home 9 gold medals, more than the second-place Italians and third-place British combined. Their most talked-about title defense took place at the 1956 Games in Melbourne. Known as the blood in the water match, it was a violent and ugly affair against Russia that saw Hungary's star player, Ervin Zsador, get punched in the face with his team up 4-0.
Hungary is the favourites in any competition.
In 2012, the Hungarians were looking to make it 4 gold medals in a row, hoping to match Great Britain, the only other nation to achieve the feat, having won the first 4 editions. But in this instance, it wasn't meant to be. Hungary bowed out to eventual runners-up Italy in the quarter-finals. Coming up, the great defenders. Boring. Come on, just let the man score. Another goose egg? Really? Ah, defending. Like parents turning up to a house party. When they're on their game, defenders shut things down fast. But some footballers through the years have done the seemingly unthinkable. Make defending the best part of the game. Germany is really grateful that Franz Beckenbauer didn't listen to the advice of his father. That's because rather than continue in what would have been a solid career as an insurance salesman, he gave that up in his teens to give football a solid go. He joined Bayern Munich in 1964 when they were still a little bit meh. and became the backbone of a side that went on to rule the country and eventually the continent. The Kaiser captained Bayern to 4 league titles in the early 70s and 3 European Cup wins. He also took home the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup and 10 years later, the Intercontinental Cup. In 1977, arguably the game's greatest ever defender moved to New York, accepting a lucrative contract with the Cosmos in order to show the Americans what all the fuss was about. And although his 3 Soccer Bowl titles in 4 years may seem unremarkable to football enthusiasts, his international exploits are not. The 2-time European Footballer of the Year lifted the World Cup as captain of West Germany in 1974 and again as its coach in 1990. He was the inventor of the modern sweeper position. And as his nickname suggests, he was their undisputed leader, a combination of elegance and arrogance. Those attributes have carried over into his career as the honorary president of Bayern Munich and a member of the committee that brought the 2006 World Cup to Germany, where he got to see them lose up close against Italy in the semi-finals. Italy is a country coveted for its history and architecture, fashion and food. You can also add football defending to the list. Developing and perfectly delivering on the philosophy that if the opposition can't score, they can't win, the Catenaccio, or lockdown defending, became synonymous with Italian football. Thanks in large part to the Helenio Herrera-coached Internazionale teams of the 1960s. So it's only natural that the nation produced some of the greatest ever football defenders, like Paolo Maldini and Franco Baresi, the AC Milan wall that played a combined 45 years for the club. Combined with Mauro Tassotti and Alessandro Costacurta, they're considered by many to be the greatest back 4 of all time. In the 2015-16 Serie A campaign, it was Juventus that carried the torch of upright Italian defending. The terrifying trio of Giorgio Chiellini, Leonardo Bonucci, and Andrea Bazzagli led the team to its 5th straight league title, while conceding the least amount of goals since Antonio Conte's record breaking 20 goals conceded in 2011-2012. Madrid is made of 2 different football forces with 2 different football mentalities. Real Madrid, regal and refined, their philosophy is generally, he who scores the most goals wins. And then there's Atletico Madrid, the workhorses, who have adopted a defense-first approach under the stern eye of their emotional head coach, El Cholo, Diego Simeone.
The only important thing for me is winning, and all my preparation goes into the team I'm working with. I'm employed by Atletico Madrid, and that's who all my focus is on.
And that focus has paid off. Between Simeone's arrival in 2015, the club has won a UEFA Europa League and Super Cup, plus the Copa del Rey, the Spanish Super Cup, and broke the Barcelona Real La Liga stranglehold by taking the title in 2014. Simeone has instilled a football philosophy known as Cholismo, where their hard work behind the ball is rewarded with their killer counterattacks led by Antoine Griezmann. And on defense, their leader is arguably the best central defender in football today, Diego Godin. They may not play the pass-happy tiki-taka style made popular by Barcelona, but rather a clinical game of defend and destroy. Critics may argue the style is not exciting, but Simeone doesn't care.
I think criticism always makes you grow. It makes you try to improve. I wouldn't like Atletico Madrid, after all we've done these past few years, not to feel the demand and the responsibility to improve. Atletico Madrid is one of the best clubs in Europe nowadays, and it's normal we have the consequent demands.
On February 3rd, 2013, middle linebacker Ray Lewis ended his football career by winning his second Super Bowl title, when his Baltimore Ravens beat the San Francisco 49ers 34-31.
What better way to go out, you know? And I think more importantly, it's my teammates the way I went out. The things that we've been through all year, battle tested through this journey, the up and down roller coaster, the injuries, the passings of people, man, and we stayed together. And now I get to ride off in the sunset with my second ring.
One of the fiercest competitors in the NFL, he led that postseason with 51 tackles, which is amazing considering he was nursing the effects of a torn tricep. Lewis is one in a select group of the game's most feared defenders. Don't let the pink tie fool you. In today's game, nobody instills more fear in opposing quarterbacks than J.J. Watt. Between 2011 and 2015, Watt was named the league's Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. He also led the league in sacks twice, becoming the first ever player to record 2 seasons with more than 20. Before Watt, the man you'd love to avoid was New York Giants outside linebacker Lawrence Taylor. A 2-time Super Bowl champion and 10-time Pro Bowler, LT recorded 142 sacks, 9 interceptions, and even 2 touchdowns in 13 seasons, and is considered to be the greatest ever defensive player in the NFL. He changed the way defenses play, the way pass rushing is played, the way linebackers play, and the way offenses block linebackers, said former Super Bowl winning head coach John Madden. Adding extreme aggression to the linebacker position, Taylor was often unhinged off the field as well. Case in point, in 2011, he was sentenced to 6 years probation after patronizing an underage prostitute in 2009. And then there was Super Bowl 31 champion Reggie White. The 6'5", 300-pound defensive end from Tennessee was considered the Minister of Defense for his role as both a football player and preacher.
I want to be used by God to take care of people. And if people don't want to be taken care of, and that's fine, but there are a lot to do. In particular, those who are hurting, those who are oppressed, those who are widows, those who are poor.
After the break, title defense has gone really wrong. English physicist and mathematician Sir Isaac Newton proved in his third law of gravity that what goes up must come down. German theoretical physicist Albert Einstein proved in his general theory of relativity that gravity is acceleration. And the 2014 Spanish football team proved that when it comes to defending a World Cup crown, both Newton and Einstein were painfully correct. One moment you're on top of the world, the next moment you're a personified national disaster. They were confident, perhaps even cocky, and full of conviction. With consecutive victories at the World Cup in South Africa in 2010 and the European Championships in Poland and the Ukraine in 2012, Spain was considered one of the favorites to win it all at Brazil in 2014.
We have to acknowledge that we are one of the favorites on the pitch. We have a very good chance of winning the World Cup, and we're up there with Brazil, Argentina and Germany as the favorites, and I'm very confident with the team. We want to change the statistic that says no national team so far has been able to win 2 consecutive World Cups. And that's an extra motivation for us.
Game 1 in their title defense was against the Netherlands, the team they beat in extra time to win the 2010 edition. But this time it was an absolute nightmare. After an Alonso penalty made it 1-0, the Orange scored 5 straight goals. The final result is the largest loss margin for a defending champion in World Cup history and sunk the nation into an instant state of panic.
They will have to change practically everything. They have to change their defense and their motivation. They have to come down from their high horse. They must take off their high heels and really play the game.
They played the game, but their confidence was shot. After a 2-0 loss to Chile, they finally won one, 3-0 against Australia, in a game that meant nothing. And just like that, the defending champions, 6-1 favourites to win it all, were going home.
So far, we have done things right, except for this World Cup. It's difficult for us, because after winning everything for so many years, now we have to go back home early. We all made mistakes in this World Cup, and we must learn from them.
It seems as though the 21st century hasn't been kind to defending World Cup champions, for Spain isn't alone in their failure. 2002, and after winning the 1998 World Cup on home soil, France faltered 4 years later. Despite the likes of Zinedine Zidane, Patrick Vieira, and Thierry Henry, Le Bleu failed to score a goal. Losing their first game to Senegal, they finished dead last in the group stages. 2010, and defending champions Italy arrived in South Africa, a different team than 2006. Without the creative flair of Alessandro Del Piero and Francesco Totti, the Azzurri went home in shame, finishing last in their group, which included a spineless 1-1 draw with New Zealand. When it comes to clubs, in the spring of 2015, Jose Mourinho and Chelsea FC were on top of the Premier League world, winning their first league title since 2010.
Book another place for the parade of next season. I hope we can give you that.
Instead, what they gave fans the following season was so treacherous, their results left Chelsea singing the blues.
No, I don't accept. I accept that we are in the relegation zone. I don't accept we are in the relegation zone.
But it seemed Mourinho was deluded. And in December, with Chelsea just 1 point above relegation, he was handed his walking papers. They hired another former manager, Gus Hiddink, but their results generally remained the same. Having conceded nearly twice as many goals and accumulating half the points of their previous joyful campaign, the 2015-16 Chelsea team provided the worst title defense since Premier League conception in 1992. When you fail to defend your title as a team, you can sort of hide amongst the others in the group. But in sports where it's just you against the world, there is no hiding, like in tennis. The 2016 Australian Open was Lleyton Hewitt's final professional tennis tournament after an 18-year career. Saw him win 30 titles and over $20 million in prize money.
It's had a strange feeling, but I'm just trying to soak it up as much as possible.
After losing to David Ferrer in the second round, Hewitt had a chance to look back on his career of many wins and many misses. His most notable miss was his 2003 defense of his 2002 Wimbledon title, which started against qualifier and mammoth of a man, 6'11" Ivo Karlovic in the first round. Unfortunately for Rusty, it ended there too. Hewitt became the first defending Wimbledon men's champion in the Open era to lose in the first round, going down 6-1, 6-7, 3-6, 4-6. In cycling, Kenyan-born and raised British cyclist Chris Froome took the reins of Team Sky at the 100th edition of the Tour de France in 2013, after Sir Bradley Wiggins was forced to forego defending his 2012 title due to injury. Froome won it all, setting off celebrations throughout Nairobi.
So strong, you know, so amazing, you know. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
But that feeling faded the following year, when Froome crashed out on just the 5th stage of the Tour, falling 3 times over 2 days. Not one to shy away from a challenge, Froome was able to put that negative title defense behind him and took the title once again in 2015. Moving to a faster sport on wheels, it was Sebastian Vettel who went from champion to champion in 2014. After winning 4 straight F1 titles with Red Bull Racing, the young and uber-talented driver from Heppenheim, Germany, was being compared with another uber-talent of the sport, the legendary Michael Schumacher.
I think it's an achievement that will take time to sink in properly. Incredibly proud of what we have achieved together as a team, to be honest.
But when his team replaced the retiring Mark Webber with Daniel Ricciardo, the dynamics of the team changed.
I obviously know Daniel for quite a while now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure he will try very hard to give me a hard time, and I will do the exact same thing.
But in the end, it was Vettel who didn't live up to his end of the bargain, becoming the first defending champion to fail to win a race the following season since Jacques Villeneuve in 1998. Suddenly, Sebastian was seen as surplus goods.
Other drivers in particular.
Finishing the year 5th, he ended up with Ferrari in 2015. However, Vettel's F1 title defense pales in comparison to that of South Africa's Jody Scheckter. After leading Ferrari to both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship in 1979, Scheckter managed to pick up just 2 points in finishing 19th in 1980 and walked away from the sport at the end of the year. It must be said, however, that Scheckter raced for years with the mental scars of having witnessed the deaths of drivers Francois Sever in 1973 and Peter Revson in 1974. Making his 1979 title a sporting miracle. Still to come, the best defenders in basketball. In basketball, the slam dunks may get all the glory, but titles are won with the tightest of defense. Arguably, the greatest ever defender in basketball was Bill Russell. In a time when the NBA didn't even record steals or blocks, it was said that Russell provided those in buckets. Add to that his astonishing average of 22.5 rebounds a game, and it's only natural that he led the Boston Celtics to 11 championship titles. The game has also seen the likes of 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Hakeem "The Dream" Olajuwon, and his league-leading 3,830 blocks. The Brick Wall, Dikembe Mutombo, and his 4-time Defensive Player of the Year awards. And Gary Payton, whose stealing abilities were so irritating, he was known as the Glove. And then there's the Bulls trio of Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman, who won 17 championships between them on the back of their incessant defensive play. Nowadays, however, there is one man who truly puts the fence in defense. San Antonio Spurs small forward, Kawhi Leonard. In 2016, Leonard took home his 2nd straight NBA Defensive Player of the Year award, the first non-center to do so since Dennis Rodman in 1990 and 1991. The 6'7" Leonard finished 12th in the league in steals and averaged a career-best 1 block per game. He also had a career year in points, averaging 21.2 points per game. All this helped the Spurs allow a league-low 92.9 points per game. But the always humble Leonard attributes his success to the rest of the team.
Just hide behind him in the game, really. Just playing my hardest basketball, being focused on the defensive end. They give me the confidence to pressure my man, get into the ball handler.
Attacking is the spectacular part of any game. The run and gun, the shoot and score. But no attack happens without the confidence that the defense has your back. Defense really does win championships. And that is the truth.